Imagine a world in which children of all abilities learn, play, and grow together. A world in which ability does not stand in the way of making friends or dictate where you get to go to school or who you get to study with. That's what I do every day. I try to think about how we make this become a reality, how we try to understand and appreciate the power and the promise of inclusive education. So what is inclusion? Inclusion is not a strategy, an instructional strategy. Inclusion isn't a placement option. Inclusion is about belonging. It's about belonging to a community, a group of friends, a school, or a community. But it's also important to remember that inclusion is not just about being there.
And through a social model that sees disability not as some sort of individual problem or affliction needing cure. The old medical model of disability. But rather largely the product of environments and attitudes and policies that fail to include the vast array of human particularities. So in other words, the goal is not to try to adapt diverse bodies and minds to rigid existing structures, but to radically reimagine these structures to make them fit diverse bodies and minds. The social model of disability. And this social model also recognizes the dependency of all individuals on external supports, technologies and interventions to survive, to flourish, or simply to make life easier.
So now consider inclusive education. Perhaps we could imagine a school where all the sports are played by children in wheelchairs, where the mathematician moves to think, where the scholars are nonverbal, where everyone belongs and everyone participates. There are some models now for inclusive education across the globe that are paving the way, and the outcomes are startling. The academic outcomes for all the children are increased by looking at inclusive education. There's a recent movement in the past 10 years called neurodiversity. It means that we look at the human diversity that's inherent in the classrooms and we celebrate it in our education. He quotes 3 effective practices that make a difference in the effectiveness of inclusive education. They are culture, curriculum, and collaboration.